Welcome everybody to our first Q&A call of this season, year, whatever you like to call it. This is just going to be our hope is it's going to be at least a monthly, possibly a bi-weekly meeting that we're going to try to start up and get in the routine of. Martin, oh, sorry, I just got distracted. So welcome everybody to this. We're thinking a bi-weekly call. We're going to start this off with a Q&A, but we do see that this is going to be something that will be good to bring guests on and maybe some Cheddar Soft or OA Cheddar lead list customers to come in, share their experience. We're starting this off as a webinar. It may become more of like a meeting setting where we all can see each other and share and talk. So feedback would be super helpful. If you guys, tell me what you guys would like to see. Would you like to see a webinar type format, or would you like to have it more like a meeting type format where we all kind of get into a room? There is some restrictions and limitations that we could hit with a meeting, but that as of right now, with the number of people who are attending, I think we'll be all right. So yeah, we're joined. Grant and I are together. For those who don't know, Grant and I are brothers. Grant is one of the co-owners of OA Cheddar, and I am the general manager. Grant, you want to say anything?
Well, yeah, I think the biggest thing that we want to do, guys, is really get to know our customers better. Over the last few months and especially over the last few weeks, we've really been working on Taylor's been meeting with customers. Some of you have probably met with him or have scheduled a meeting with Taylor to discuss Cheddar Soft or leads or anything like that. And this is a way for us both to get out and meet with you guys on a regular basis, figure out what it is in your business that is frustrating, is working well, stuff like that. And at the end of the day, how can we serve you all with the services that we provide? Like, what can we do better? At the end, full transparency, like, I'm not really one to kind of hide behind the curtain of like reality. We have seen attrition, right? We've seen attrition on our lead list after 4 years of being sold out and not ever being able to have enough leads for our customers. It just kind of flipped. And I think there's the economy scares. I think a lot of new sellers and side hustlers are leaving the industry. Doing market research, interviewing you all, figuring out what it is that you want. I think exclusivity on lead lists is becoming increasingly popular. I've had resistance on that because, with exclusivity comes a higher price point for everybody. Same leads, bigger ticket. And so we've tried to avoid that. But I think at the end of the day, the market has spoken, and that is why you've seen some emails recently regarding our new project, OA Gouda. Really very, very similar to what we've done with OA Cheddar 55 in the past, except for it's going to have 35 sellers. We have a variety of ideas, actually. We've had some ideas in the last week or so, 2 weeks, that really get us excited about how we can really shake things up with the lead list industry, especially here at OA Cheddar, obviously. I can't really share all of those details, all of those ideas, but we will be systematically working towards, rolling out more exclusive lead lists. And again, there's some other really cool ideas, but I can't share those yet on this call. So yeah, that's what this is about. Just hearing from you guys, spending time with you guys, really, honestly, laid back. Like, we're not trying to, sell you anything. We're not trying to perform at a high level. Like, I don't, when we decided to do this, I was like, I'm happy to, I'm like looking forward to getting out and talking to our group, but not with the pressure of having to prepare like any extensive content. Partly because, in my business, and here I am rambling, but the way my role has been, it has evolved in business, is I'm not really much of an Amazon seller as I used to be, right? We've got a good team. We've got systems and processes in place. I'm very detached, but I am really trying to dig in and researching and studying and learning more about what it is to be an Amazon seller today, and hearing from users and lead list subscribers and stuff like that, and kind of just building relationships. And so I'm really looking forward to the future, and just how, we just, I don't know, this is a testing. Do you guys want to meet with us once every 2 weeks?
Here
So
we
I'll
we
shut
actually
up and let you go.
This is actually a great time to test out our chat, because I know we were having some issues when we were first starting in. So if you guys would like to see more of these webinars, more laid back, relaxed type calls, once every month or every 2 weeks, just go ahead and say yes in the chat. Maybe put yes and what you prefer, if it's monthly or bi-weekly. Okay, perfect. Chat is working once every 2 or monthly. Okay, nice. Yes. Appreciate the webinars personally. Perfect. Fantastic, guys. Yeah, like we were saying, we're going to want to be doing this more often, really keep it to more of a laid back, relaxed kind of, vibe. And it's really going to be just a good chance for you guys to come out, bring us your questions, bring us your ASINs that you would like us to review and to go over. There is a form that you guys all got emailed, and on the next one, the next webinar that we do, I'll send out a new form for questions, just to help. It really helps us gather up. So there is no such thing as a bad question. So don't feel like you need to have the perfect question for us. Just go ahead and let it rip, and we will do our best to answer it. Our hope is that we bring out some guests and kind of have the same laid back, relaxed style. We are starting to put together a list of some folks who are in the industry or are in, personal subscribers to OA Cheddar, and bring them out here as well. Like Grant was saying, we are making some moves. A lot of you guys have probably received an email about our new OA Gouda list, which is going to be limited to 35 sellers, something we've never done before. So limiting this list to 35 sellers, same top shelf leads that everyone is used to, but just coming with less competition. If you guys have not applied for Gouda and you're interested and you want to learn more about it, you can go to oacheddar.com and get more info. Or you can also follow the link that I just put inside of the chat if you want to just fill out an application form. We are starting to apply or ask for applications on lists to just interview and touch base with the ones who are going to be joining this lead list. I think this is going to be kind of a new thing ongoing for any of our Gouda lists that we come out with possibly in the future, or even other future products, where a seller has to apply. After talking to some of our subscribers, exclusivity is a big thing that everyone is looking for, but also they'd like to be part of a group of sellers that understand Amazon, understand how to work a lead list, are not quick to tank the prices, tend to match with prices instead of beating by a penny, that kind of stuff. So what we're hoping to do is this application process is help filter out the types of sellers that you would like to be selling alongside with, and hopefully weed out any imposters or anything like that. So if you guys want to check out Gouda 35, the application is inside of the chat. Other than that, Grant, we started kind of touching base with it, and I think you were kind of going on about the future of Cheddar. As far as kind of the direction that we're heading, I think you touched on it. We're looking for more exclusive type lists. So yes, don't be surprised if you start to see that we start to remove Cheddar lists and replace them with these lower seat limit lead lists. So
Yeah, I want to add to what you said. Like, we're doing an application process for OA Gouda 35, and we're going to add questions to it. We're actually probably going to start asking for proof of identity, whether that is a URL to a Facebook profile, or if you don't have, some sort of valid proof of identity, some sort of online identity. We're not going to ask for your driver's license or a picture of your passport or anything crazy like that. We probably don't have the legal backing and stuff to do something like that. But We're probably going to start vetting people's identity to make sure that they're not hiding behind some sort of alias. Again, because one thing that's been extremely important for us in terms of our organization and our lead generators and everybody who has access to the data within our own organization, we've been very diligent about creating systems and processes to protect it as much as possible. However, we're now going the next level and going, okay, how do we protect our data on a consumer level, at the consumer level? And so that is something we're working towards. So we're taking applications now. We're probably going to make the applications a little bit more robust so that there isn't necessarily a need to interview. But if we do a high ticket lead list package that runs on a monthly basis, 12 months a year, then yes, we're probably going to integrate some sort of video interview process where we're vetting and learning about who the person is. Fact is, if somebody's not willing to get on a video chat with us, they probably are up to something shady or something else. And so I'm not assuming that everybody who doesn't want to do video is shady, but I think that's something that everyone needs to be willing to do if they want a high ticket product. So with that, I have a question for all of you. If you guys would be so kind, there's 18 of you, and I would really appreciate your feedback on this. How much roughly on average are you paying per month for leads? And that's combined with Cheddar, any other lead list subscription. You could even tack on like, what you're paying for virtual assistants and kind of come up with a sum average of what you are spending. And you can send that just to us if you want. If you don't want to share that with the whole group, just send it to the panelists on the chat. But I would really appreciate your feedback on that to really gauge, kind of what does the average seller spend on leads these days? Just Cheddar. A lot. I'm looking for numbers. Send me numbers. I want to know, like, are you spending $1,000 a month? I mean, I know that we have people in our sphere of influence, people that are subscribed to Cheddar almost exclusively, they buy all of our lists, right? So if in the past, we've had 10 OA Cheddar lead list at 149. So that's 1,490, right? $1,500 a month. And that's serving 7-figure sellers usually at that level. 500 a month. Cool. Yeah. Okay. Maybe some of you guys are still tallying up the math. Bust out a calculator and just send me a number. It's nothing, no pressure. I'm just curious what you guys got going. We'll go from there. Cool.
Awesome. Well, I have a couple questions that have come in, and guys, if you do have questions, feel free to drop them inside the chat, or there's a Q&A section down by the chat button that you can select, and you can also put your question in there. We will do our best to answer any of those. So let's go ahead and kind of just jump into it. First off, first question, I'm going to answer a couple of these questions now, Grant, and then as questions either keep rolling in, we can either keep answering them. And if not, I have pulled out 3 ASINs that we can take a look at and just have a little roundtable discussion as far as what we all think about these products. So first question comes from Martin. He actually has a few. So first question is the timeline for adding and updating prices on our uploaded leads inside of Cheddar Soft. And Martin, I am happy to say that actually has already been implemented, and you're able to get updated prices for the leads that you yourself upload. You will go, actually, let me just go ahead and share my screen with y'all, make this easier. So let me know if you can see my screen, Grant.
I can see it.
Okay. So inside of Smart Data, you will come in here, and let me just throw together, I have a handful of lists that I've uploaded. And I think the test as well. So let me apply those real quick, and then let me make sure I turn on my all settings because these are a little older leads. Just to show you guys, we really don't source anywhere else. These are little personal find leads that maybe we've come up, by doing a little rabbit trailing. But you can see that out of my list, I have 116 leads total. So coming over here into actions, you will want to click the actions button and then come down to show latest stats. And you will see that these turn green. Now, not all of them may turn green. We are still going through and identifying what ASINs are not being updated and then figuring out what is causing that breakdown and fixing it. But enough to where I say the majority of these leads have been updated. And the process for latest stats is it will only continue to get better every time the system goes through and does updates. It checks to see if there was a price difference or a change, and if there is a change more often. So if you're talking about like a faster selling lead that the price is going up and down, it will then prioritize that ASIN to keep checking it on a more or just more often to get that update. So you should start to see these days really shrink down to, hopefully our goal is within 48 hours. Then 48 hours, you should understand what that price was. But you do have that ability already now. The second question Martin had was for the timeline for adding teams and / sub accounts to Cheddar Soft. We just met with our team this last Tuesday, and that was a topic of discussion. We are in the middle of finalizing that process right now. It's going to start off super basic, so you'll be able to create sub accounts, hand it off to your team. They will have full access except for to your payment settings and your account settings. So that's going to be the first iteration of teams or sub accounts. And then from there, we'll build off of that and have things like timestamps for what member of your team added something to a buy list or created an order, so on and so forth. And as far as when we're about to roll out with that, I expect within the next week or two. It is coming along with your next question, which is what any updates when it comes to streamlining the upload process for Cheddar Soft. I'm really happy you guys said that. I'm actually going to give you a little sneak peek since you're on this call. So we've been working on this new feature or this new section of Cheddar Soft and rebuilding it because it was our initial version of the upload tool. And we have since gotten a bunch of feature requests and we wanted to add those in. So when you go to upload, you will have two options. You can either upload new leads or you can manage your current leads. So if you were going to upload a lead list, you'd come in here, you'd drop your file in. I wish I do. Give me a second. I'm going to pull over a file real quick. Maybe I'm not going to be as quick as I thought.
No worries.
So we'll use this. Okay, so once the file downloads, you'll just come drop it in here. So everyone was asking about for templates for the upload tool to where you can create a template and have it automatically map out your columns. You do have that. So for this would be a new source for me. So I need to create a new source name. So I'll just say test 2 for this example. And then I'd create a new template. And from here, I would go ahead and start adding my names. And then if I come down here and I select my ASIN, you see how it's starting to build the spreadsheet for me and I can see what I'm selecting. So if there's any bundles, source URLs, supplier names.
You got supplier in there twice.
Oh, my bad. And so on and so forth. I'll just go ahead and, fill this out as it goes, and you'll start to see your spreadsheet being built. Once you're done, you hit create template, and now this template will be saved for the name of this list group. So whenever you come, say this is your daily upload that you're doing every single day. Once you have a template saved, all you'll be doing is uploading a CSV file, selecting the template, and then publishing your uploaded leads. It's going to be super fast, super easy. The other thing that you'll be able to do is you'll be able to manage your list groups. So if I come down here into my personal finds and say I want to search, maybe I had a date range or a and I want to see my newest stuff that I've uploaded. I can do that. It will then show me the newest things that I've updated from newest to oldest. And I can just keep going through each one of those items. I can make mass changes. So say if I want to select all my leads and I want to do all the leads in this list, I can now select all those leads. Well, I'm supposed to. See, we're still testing. We're still working out a little bit of these bugs. So this has happened. So let's say I wanted to select all these items and I say, hey, I want to modify the date. I messed up. And we've seen this before where somebody, if they upload a date that doesn't have a year, it defaults to 2001 because the tool doesn't know what year you're talking about. So maybe I want to modify the date on all of these leads. I can do so. And we'll add in some other options as well. But maybe I want to move this list source. Maybe I say, hey, I've been creating a new list source for every single day that I'm uploading, and I just need to combine all these together. I can select all the leads. I can move it over into my test 2 list. And now inside of test 2, you'll see all these leads already added in there. So we're giving you guys some more functionality and an easier tool to upload your leads with. One cool feature that we're just putting the final finishing touches on is the bundle builder. And I think I might actually call it that, the bundle builder. This is where you can add a bundle directly using the interface of Cheddar Soft, and you're not going to have to deal with all the formatting with a spreadsheet. We understand that bundles come in usually, they're few and far in between. So might be easier for you to just be able to add a bundle manually instead of trying to upload it and figure out all the formatting. But we have been working on this, and we are very close to having this live for all of our users. And I expect that to happen next week. Again, just finalizing a little bit of testing and some bug finding, and we should be good to go there. And then Martin's last question is the ability to add manually sourced buy lists into Cheddar Soft. Great question. So we've talked before about adding products directly into your buy list. So maybe you are the type of, you source by getting your spreadsheet from your lead list providers. You pick out the items that you like and you build a buy list in a spreadsheet. We have plans to put in a feature where you can download those leads directly into your buy list, simultaneously creating them as a lead inside of Smart Data. But this way, if you're going through the pathway of building a buy list every morning, you're just uploading the best leads that you like the most. Likewise, we are also going to be pioneering creating an order from scratch. And as you create that order from scratch, when you add a new product to that order, you can choose to also make it a lead inside of Smart Data while also recording the order. So our goal is to have multiple entry points into Cheddar Soft. And it doesn't matter if you're starting with creating an order or if you're starting with uploading a lead list into Cheddar Soft, you'll be able to create leads both ways and just save time and clicks is our big goal. And then last question from Martin is, for your own FBA store/business, do you have a goal of how much money you aim to spend for each lead list per day? No, I have a budget for the entire day. So how much I at least bare minimum, no matter what, need to spend $3,000. Ideally, if I can spend up to $5,000, that's a really nice day for us. And so when I do my sourcing, I go to my Smart Data, I open up all the leads that I have access to. I set up parameters for minimum net profit that I need to make, just to compensate for my prep center's costs and things like that. And then I just go down that list and I buy whatever I like. And if I get to the end of my buying day and I haven't spent enough money, then I will go through my replens and I will start searching my replens using Cheddar Soft. I will use my inventory report from Seller Central to find replens. I will start rabbit trailing whatever I need to do. And so, yeah, we don't have a specific budget for a specific buy list. We just look at all of our data as a whole and see how much we can spend.
In 2021, we generally spent about $75,000 a month on inventory. I think that year we sold close to not quite 1.8 million.
were we averaging around 75,000? Because I know our goal was to spend 100,000 a month.
Yeah, I think most of the time we were probably closer to 80 because we were just busy. But yeah, I think it was 75 to 80. Maybe it was 85 on average across the entire year.
Yeah,
Um, but I don't think it was that high.
I see. Okay. Well, and then Martin, kind of follow-up question is what reasons would there be to make a mass change to a leads list? It's a great question. The big thing is going to be the date. And that's just because we've seen over the last 2.5 years of Cheddarsoft being live, I've received lead lists from people having problems uploading, and there's a lot of lead list companies that will either not put a date in, period, or they put just a month in the day. They leave out the year. And so if you upload with just a month and a day, the system when it reads it goes, oh, there's no year. Use the lowest year available in our database, which is 2001. And so
2021.
no, 2001.
Oh,
And so
okay.
what would happen is someone would upload their leads and they'd say, hey, I uploaded the leads for today, but I don't see it inside of smart data. And then once you search that all the way back to 2001, you'd start to find the leads. And so then a user would have to delete that lead list, make the change in their spreadsheet, and then re-upload. So we want to give them the ability just to make that quick change. And then the big thing here was really just to merge your list into one. So there was, and this is due to probably doing a better job writing copy, but with the old upload tool, there was a little confusion. A lot of folks would go to create a lead list, and they would create a lead list for every single day that they're uploading. And what would happen is, once they got out to about 100, well, no, actually, it was like more like 300 plus lead lists uploaded, you would start to their smart data would crash or slow down dramatically. And that's because what they were doing is we were creating a lead list group or a supplier of leads. So just use OA Cheddar as an example. If you're uploading an OA Cheddar lead list, that you want to make a OA Cheddar file or group, and then just continue to add the leads every day to that group. And so we wanted to build that feature in because we have a lot of users who were making that mistake early on. So now they have a ton of lead lists in their settings, and we want to give them the ability to merge those all into one without having to re-upload all of their data.
I got a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So Josh mentions that he has a lot of those. I think he's referring to, instead of combining everything into one list source, he's got a bunch of maybe weekly leads or daily lead lists in there.
Mm-hmm.
Once the new importing system is live, will he be able to go and catalog and kind of reorganize the stuff that he uploaded with the old upload system?
Absolutely. Yep.
Cool.
So you'll be able to go to his old data, merge those all into one list group, and then he's good. No messing around with it, period. The other thing too, and you don't see it in there yet, but something that we're hoping to have before we put it out publicly, but we will share this publicly before we have this part in, is going to be a upload log. So when you select a lead list group, you'll be able to see every time that you've uploaded to that group and when. And so say you made a mistake with one of your lead list uploads, and say you mixed up the ASIN column, and instead of an ASIN there, it's the supplier's name. You'll be able to go in there and delete that entire upload at once. So that way, hey, I made a mistake with this upload. I'm just going to delete this real quick and then re-upload my list that I'm trying to put in. Currently, there wasn't a pathway to do that. So someone would have to either get rid of their entire list group or go in and individually delete the leads. And so we wanted to make sure that we encompassed that portion of Cheddarsoft, so that way users aren't wasting their time, can make the quick changes they need to do. And yeah, I'm excited to get that out to you guys to start playing with, get some more feature requests from that, and to make sure that everyone's good. And then we'll make those little updates. A note about Cheddarsoft that a lot of folks I want to kind of touch on. In 2022, there was a lot of time spent for these big foundational projects. stuff on the back end of Cheddarsoft that needed to be handled, rebuilding smart data to be extremely more efficient and quicker, because you guys put a ton of data in. We weren't expecting how much data was going to be uploaded into this tool when we first originally built it. To give you guys an inside scoop, have either just surpassed or are right about to surpass 750,000 user uploaded leads. Wow. And we should be at 1 million leads uploaded into Cheddarsoft, I imagine, in the next couple of months at the rate that we're going. So what comes with that? That database had to grow, become a lot more efficient. So we tackled that right on. And you guys have noticed, I'm sure, that smart data runs very quickly. You're not waiting, 10 seconds for a search to pull up results. They should be coming in fairly quickly. So that was part of it. The latest stats, it was a big feature, because it wasn't just simply, hey, let's just connect to Amazon through a Seller Central account and pull these. If we did that, you wouldn't be able to get updated prices on your leads, because you would run into throttling issues from Amazon. And it wasn't as simple as, oh, let's just add Keepa into Cheddarsoft, because Keepa is a program that is violating Amazon's terms of service. And once you put
maybe not anymore. I think when they started charging, I'm not exactly sure, but I think there's something to do with when they started charging, that was like to become compliant. There was some sort of, but who knows? I could be wrong about that.
But we want to go down a different route, because we didn't want to get ourselves, into the crosshairs of Amazon, or possibly do we didn't want Amazon coming around and saying, hey, you guys need to stop doing this, and then shut down maybe our future connections to Seller Central that we are hoping to make. So we found an alternative. Essentially, this tool will track and record your data, not your data, but it'll track and record the updates to an item. And so over time, we should be able to see some really cool things with the data that we are collecting over the next couple of years, to where you can see things like offer trends, and our offers trending downwards. And if they're trending downwards, maybe that's a search parameter that you're going to want to put in Cheddarsoft, because that's appealing. Or maybe it's offer counts are dropping and price is now starting to go up. That sweet spot that we're all looking for. Essentially, our goal is to try to give you to help you find good replens before they're actually good. So you can take action on those before a lead list picks it up and shares it, or before, every other Joe Blow and Sally, is going through and doing a replen as well. So we built that tool. A couple other stuff I'm not going to bore you guys with, but 2023, we've talked to the team. Everyone's on board. We have now finalized our last big project. And what we're going to be doing now for maybe the rest of the year is identifying these little features that people have been asking for, making the tool smoother, more efficient, putting in things, interviewing our users and gathering information of how they run their business, and applying that. And so you should start to see updates happening much more quickly. My hope is there'll be something updated once a week, even whether it's small or big. But at least every couple of weeks, there should be a decent amount of little updates happening to Cheddarsoft. So I hope you guys are excited for it. If you ever have any questions, or if you want to get on a call with me to share your thoughts, let me just drop this real quick. If anybody ever wants to get on a call with me to discuss Cheddarsoft or the leads list, or just bend my ear about, possible ideas that they'd like to see from us, feel free to book a time with me by clicking the link that I just dropped in chat. We can book a 30-minute call. Super easy. And I would love to talk to you guys. Like Grant said, we've been interviewing our customers and really learning a lot and connecting with folks that we've never connected with before. And it's been really enjoyable. So don't hesitate to fill up my schedule. So that being said, I think, Grant, we have another question here. So be mindful of the clock. What are your thoughts on having overseas VAs do your actual buying? Not worth the problem of increased order cancellations, credit card alerts, issues, and etc. That is a great question. So how do we feel about someone overseas buying inventory for a business? So we don't personally, us personally, we don't. Our cousin Charles, who was our shipper for a long time, and now he does all of our buying and manages our inventory and does actually some QC stuff for Cheddar. He does all of our purchasing. I knowing actually Ed Dassey, who's on the call right now. Ed, I know, has had VAs from overseas do his buying for him. They are VAs that he's worked closely with. He has a system to where he gives them alternative credit cards that he controls and that he can shut down at any time or give them limits on spending so they can't take it and run with it. And I know that he's had great success with it. So I would say, yeah, Ed just responded in chat. I've used VAs for years for purchasing, and it's a huge time saver. So I know it works well for him. I think that there is a couple of safety checks that you need to put up to protect yourself and protect your business. But I know that people do it, and they have great success with it. And so I think if you do it right, you shouldn't have a problem with it. But if you can do it yourself, or if you know somebody like a high school student, college student, maybe a retired person who's looking for extra work on the side, and you can pay them cheaply enough, always easier to go down that route. But I'll also add, just like just like overseas, someone might be willing to steal from you. Here in America, someone might be willing to steal from you. So do your due diligence to protect yourself. Look at virtual cards. Look at what your bank allows and offers for that type of stuff. So awesome. Okay, another question. So may I ask what dollar amount you guys keep in stock monthly in terms of sales value, or if you have the buy cost monthly amount that helps, or if you have the buy cost monthly amount that helps also. I'm asking to know if you have an amount in mind in order to do over 100,000 per month in sales, and do those monthly amounts change during the slower months? Great question. So to summarize, how much do Grant and I spend on inventory in a month to average to hit 100,000 in sales per month? And does that change over at different times of the year? Grant, do you want to answer that, or are you looking
You
up
can
that
talk
info?
about what about we're spending per day or per month on inventory, and then I have got inventory lab open, so I can talk about how much inventory we have, like the inventory valuation we have,
Mm-hmm.
um, and kind of what that's producing as well.
Yeah. So, like I said before, our bare minimum, our every day is to hit 3,000, and that's about 22 days out of the month. So, bare minimum, we're probably looking at 66,000. Um, and then there are some days where we might hit closer to four. There's some days where we spend a ton. I mean, there are some days where the sales are right at the right supplier, right source, that we might spend 10,000 in that day. I've done that before during certain sales, usually higher priced items, and items that we're going much deeper in because we've already had proven success with them. But I would say 66 to 72,000 is probably my guess, is what we probably spend a month to keep up our 100,000 plus sales in a month. And again, that does change from month to month. On some months when the sales are good and it's the right timing, we could spend close to 100,000. But I would say on average, you're probably looking around, that $70,000 mark.
Right now, so our sales for the last, they're starting to go down a little bit, obviously, because I think we're just coming towards the latter end of January, and we also took the Christmas week off, so that's $15,000 of spend that we don't have in our store right now, so we kind of have to recover that. But what I'll show you here, so $112,000, is that reversed, Taylor, to where it like comes in all backwards, or is that just for me?
I'm sorry. Is that reverse when it comes in backwards? I'm confused.
Can you read it correctly, or is it just
Oh, I
reversed
can
on
read
my
it correctly.
screen?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, I can read it
Okay.
correctly.
So $112,000 in sales in the last 30 days. We're actually up 21% from last year. So January last year wasn't looking so good. We're down 18% from the previous 30 days. So that gives you an idea of kind of what we did in December. Right now in stock at Amazon fulfilled, we have $60,240 currently buy cost in stock at Amazon. We have 9,873 that's inbound. So currently we have about $70,000 between what's in stock at Amazon and what's on its way to Amazon. Now, for point of reference, I want to give you that same stat from Inventory Lab for like middle of Q4, like how we were looking, let's say for November, let's say 24th. So basically Thursday of Thanksgiving Day, what was our inventory levels? That's going to be quite a bit higher. So as when it was November 24th of last year, we had $97,062 in stock at Amazon and another 10,734 that was on its way, that was inbound. So we were looking at a little bit closer to about $108,000. So our inventory levels are currently down like 30 grand, or maybe even closer to 35 grand. So we may have to, kind of do a spending sprint. However, right now, one thing that we're noticing, and I don't know if it's because sellers are leaving the space. I mean, we have gotten a lot of reports from sellers that are, I think kind of the side hustler people, the hobbyists, people that don't really make this their full-time or don't have a desire to make it their full-time, or they're just concerned financially and cutting costs. There's a lot of, what I'm noticing though, is we have a lot less inventory in our store and it's performing quite well compared to other times, like if we were to have this little inventory. So it'll be really interesting to see where, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's kind of reminding me of like kind of 2021 vibes. Like, things are selling for a profit and like we're doing pretty good. This is nice. Like there was, guys, you guys probably mostly you guys felt it in the summertime. It was, it just seems like things slowed down in our business, in a weird way. Like, hey, we haven't changed anything. We're pumping in the same amount of inventory. We're not, our buying habits haven't changed that, really much. So what's going on? And like Grant said, we're seeing I actually do have exact numbers here because I have put all my orders inside of Cheddar Soft. And so if I want to know, hey, how much did I spend last year? All I have to do is download my order report and it gives me all of my information about all my history. And so that took about 5 seconds for me to pull up. So in the year of 2022, we spent $712,000 on inventory. Keep in mind that that's going to include canceled orders, refunds. So, there's a chunk less, but that comes out to about 60,000 a month in inventory purchases. So I hope that gives you an idea. We definitely spend more money come Q4 than we do in some of the slower months. But we try to at least keep up to a certain level. And yeah.
Martin Goldberger says, I noticed exactly what you're saying about last summer. It sucked. I agree. Dude, our inventory in our store performed oddly last year. It was just interesting. I think that there was some serious saturation. And like I said, for 4 years from 2018 to up through basically summer of last year, we never, ever had a concern about filling lead lists. We could never produce enough leads to keep up with the demand. And it flipped. There's something, we just have this insider kind of knowledge, like, and we've been interviewing our customers when we hear about cancellations or when we find out that, someone wants to cancel, we ask them like, what's the reason? And generally, sure, there's a few people who are like, well, your leads suck. We're going to hear that all day long. We've been hearing that for 4 years. Okay. But at the same rate, I've been selling 7 figures plus every single year for the last 4 years, 3 years in particularly, with OA Cheddar leads and nothing else. So it's hard for me to like take that seriously. Oh, I can't make money. Okay, but I make money. So what are you talking about?
Right. Well, I
So
think
yeah, go ahead.
I think you hit it. Like, there's been a lot of new sellers, and when someone leaves our list, we have an exit interview that we ask them, and when you look at the results, the majority of folks are just bowing out. And I think what happened in talking to some other, lead list providers and other experts in the field, some bigger names of people who are connected to a lot of sellers, there was in 2020, there was a big push of people coming to Amazon. Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
They were able to have that success in the early parts of COVID because there was a humongous, amount more of people coming to purchase. And so people were having success. And then what happens? Well, any of you guys know this. If you try to scale your business, it was a lot easier to start this business when you're maybe selling $10,000 a month. But when you want to go to $100,000 a month and all the work that comes in, all the moving parts, you have to be really organized. You have to have some good systems in place, and you have to do it smartly. You don't just go out and grab, a $200,000 Amazon loan and not have a plan, right? And what I think happened, and I'm actually very confident about this because I've heard from other people just some stories, is there's a lot of younger sellers who came in, they're having success, they tried to scale, they hired prep centers, got VAs, started, trying to build their own teams up, without being ready. They never gone through a hard season on Amazon. And if you guys have been selling for more than a few years, you know exactly what we're talking about. There's times where Amazon is busting and booming, and there's times where Amazon is just, you're pulling your hair out. And so people got too they swam too much into the deep end, and they're now leaving. We saw, like Grant said, we saw this attrition happen that we weren't used to. And we're actually seeing that attrition kind of stopping. Like, people aren't leaving. It seemed like, about 20, I would say, is it safe to say about 20% or close to 20, maybe like 15?
Yeah, well, as far as let me think about this for a second. Yeah, I would say we actually lost about 30% of our customers, of our subscriptions from August through today. And I will say that's actually happening to other providers as well. It may not look like it on the surface level, but fortunately I have some conversations with individuals that are very, transparent, very connected, and other lead list providers are experiencing the same concern.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a push for hiring your own VAs, and more power to you. Go do that. If that's something you want to do. We did it, right? We turned it into a lead list service. I think there's just a lot of factors to consider.
Yeah.
There's so many factors to consider. But yeah, so yeah, we feel like it's slowing down and we're actually kind of coasting. But I do think that that's where it's like, okay, well, we need the revenue to for our business to be successful, period. Like we built a business and built a team. It's either we cut down the team, we cut down expenses, we stop building and growing or whatever, or we replace the revenue. And in order to do that, we're going to test new offers and see what the market really wants, what you guys are all really attracted to in terms of a lead list, how many sellers are on it, stuff like that. And it doesn't help. I will also add, it doesn't help that last year, with the documentation request for toys and games is a big hit. The GTIN UPC match code thing took a bunch of listings out of the online arbitrage scope. I do think that'll all shake out and we'll ride out of it. But the reality is Amazon kind of compressed, pushed down on the type of listings that a lot of online arbitrage leads happen to be. And so it actually has gotten more difficult for us and for our team to find leads than any time before. It doesn't mean that we can't figure it out. We won't adjust and compete, but it's affected us.
I want to speak on that though, because there's also things that we've put and implemented into our team that makes it harder for them to find leads in the effort to protect our users. So one great example is Mac Cosmetics. I feel, anybody, Mac Cosmetics was kind of a free for all on Amazon for a while. You had lots of listings, and those listings would have brands that would be like AMC instead of MAC for Mac, or M.A.C, or just MAC, or even my favorite one, which is like the Mac Auto Parts, brand selling a lipstick. And so we saw the writing on the wall of like, hey, Amazon's starting to crack down and trademark violations are starting to go up for IP complaints. Gone are the days of, tons of counterfeit claims because Amazon, because there's more restrictions for somebody making that type of claim. But we started seeing more trademark IP complaints hitting our account and becoming a more normal thing. So back in spring of 2022, we went to the team and said, if you're going to share a Mac lead, it has to match up with the brand. It has to be this brand. And likewise, if you're finding leads and the brand doesn't match up to the product, the brand that's listed on Amazon, it causes reason for concern, and we try to catch those. Excuse me. It's easy when it's like a brand like Mac. There's so many of them, and it was so well known of. And so we made that change. And then lo and behold, I think it was October, everyone who was listing on those old AMC type leads or anything like that started getting hit with IP violations. And it wasn't just one IP violation for all the listings. It was a IP violation for each and every single listing. So I saw some people, and do we have any?
Oh yeah. We there was one day, I think we got 4 Mac IP complaints.
Oh, so that's surprising. That's surprising to me,
but it's been a minute.
But we, so we try to make that change in the beginning to say, okay, hey, let's have this restriction because I feel like something's going to change. And sure enough, it did. And I'm really happy that we didn't just share without thinking. And so, yeah, we got, guys, we're always working and changing. I was on a conversation with a subscriber yesterday who subscribed to all of our lead lists. And he's been subscribed to every other lead list out there that you can imagine. He broke down all the numbers, and yet he's still subscribed to all of the Cheddar lead lists. And that's the one, and he has been since day one. He's not subscribed to some of the other ones, but he's been sticking with OA Cheddar. And we're just kind of discussing like security and, what that means to us. And I started sharing with him like, hey, we have systems in place to where no team member sees the data from another team member. We have systems in place to catch phony credit cards, to catch phony sellers. And we have systems to even sharing the links out to you guys as users. There's a little bit of security in there to try to identify if somebody is taking these leads and then sharing them elsewhere or to other people. And all that stuff, we didn't have to do that. We didn't have to go down that route, but we did because we knew it's important. And sure enough, we even saw it. I want to share the story, Grant, about the when we were doing our competitor analysis and some of the stuff that we saw. Is that cool with you?
I think competitor analysis. Yeah. I think that's fine. Maybe not too many specifics. And then also, I think I just remind you, we got 5 minutes and then we're cutting it off.
Okay, sounds good. So, when we did, we do competitor analysis every once in a while, and something that we found was there's these lead list companies advertising these lead lists for super cheap, like way too little, like no, so low that there's no way that even like a one-man operation with, could possibly do. And as we were looking at these websites, we kind of noticed some different grammar errors and things like that we're accustomed to seeing with having a team as large.
Grammar errors that we recognize, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's put it like that. They're grammar errors that we actually are we know this language, this broken English language very well.
And these websites claiming to be, hey, we're 7-figure sellers.
Yeah.
We're making this lead list, come buy from us. It's so cheap. But there was never a face to the brand. There was never an owner that you could identify, right? And so we're like, well, that's really weird. And at the same time, this year we've had more attempts from overseas to buy OA Cheddar leads lists with phony, fake, stolen credit cards. And so
we know that because they get denied, and we can see where they're at.
Yep. We check every single person who subscribes. We check their location. We make sure everything's up and up. This is why we're putting in things like this application process to meet with people and talk with people and make sure we're verifying their identity. Because from what we can tell and what we're estimate or guessing on, or our theory is, there are leadless providers from overseas offering ridiculously low price options. You then subscribe. You're giving away your credit card information to that person. Okay. And next thing you know, we're starting to see an increase of overseas transactions attempts with stolen credit cards, with, and we can identify the location of these. I mean, we know when they come in where that IP
Most of
address
the
is
time.
coming from most of the time. And so, to us, we were like, hey, this isn't surprising, is that there's possibly a lead list company from overseas collecting, selling data that they're buying from other data companies using, maybe possibly
Yeah.
allegedly, their customers' credit cards. Because I don't know how you get credit cards numbers unless someone's giving it to you, unless you have a phishing scheme or hacking, whatever, doesn't matter. And so that raises a concern for us. And so really, I'm saying all this to kind of put out there, like, security has been such an important thing to us. There's a reason for it. Not only is security for who we're selling leads to, but also security in what type of leads are we sharing. We try our best to kind of toe this line between not restricting so hard that we're losing opportunity. We're not sharing some really great stuff, but also, hey, let's identify items before they get out, and so that way our users, especially our users who are newer to Amazon, can not can have success with it. um and yeah, that's going to be our
To that,
commitment, our continued commitment. And
yeah, to that point too, I think, anybody who's working with Filipinos or foreigners, outsourcing your work, revealing your ASIN data or your lead data to them, they should be under contract, right? With you having the full intent and legal authority to sue them if they breach contract and if they take your data and sell it to somebody else and you catch them. Now, the reality is maybe you can never actually determine if that's happening, but the threat of that potential suit, is enough to deter a lot of bad actors. I think that's just important, and build relationships with your people. That's something we invested in
yep.
heavily, um, late 2021 going into 2022. We've always built relationships with our team, of course, but we've invested significantly into them. I mean, I'm not going to explain everything we do because some of the stuff we do, I don't want everybody to know how we take care of our people and how we love on them. But I think that's important because it's all about relationship. I mean, at the end of the day, trust in someone overseas working for you. If you don't have for example, AT&T, right? They're going to send you a computer. If you're overseas, they're going to send you a computer. They're going to track everything you're doing. It's going to be super secure. They have all of these high-tech systems. None of us have that. So we really have to build relationship and trust and a culture within the team that people want to respect and not just take care of the company, but take care of themselves and their teammates. And so I think that's really important. But yeah, we could go on and on. I mean, there's so much more to talk about. So I think we're at the top of the hour. We committed to an hour, and we want to hold the line. We want to respect your guys' time. We haven't always done that because we love to talk. But we know that we're going to come out again and meet with you all again, and we really look forward to doing that. And so there's so much more to unpack and to share, and we have so much that we're willing to. In fact, right now I've got Inventory Lab open. I was going to open it up and start sharing some stuff that might be insightful for all of you, but I'm going to save that for another time. So come back next time we invite you to one of these webinars, and we'll dive deeper.
I'm going to ask, and thank you guys, everyone who joined us. And we really want to get as many people into these calls as we can, especially as we open up, bringing people on as panelists for questions and discussion points, because I think this is where we're going to get the most value out of it. So if you guys could all do me a super big favor, I dropped a link to our Facebook group inside the chat. You guys are probably already members of it. But if you guys don't mind just, commenting your honest thoughts on this post for the QA call today, I think it just helps stir up the buzz, gets people kind of noticing. And it'd be really nice if we could get on these calls and we had 50, 60, 70 people in with questions who are willing to come out as panelists and discuss. Also, if you're somebody who you're like, hey, I'm doing really good at this Amazon thing, and I think I could share some really good information to your people, and I want to pay back, the kindness that I've received in the past by sharing, by was it called passing it forward, or share it for
Sure.
anyway,
I think something. Yeah.
whatever. Y'all get what I'm trying to say. Please let us
Not good
know.
with words. We don't do
Message
words
us.
well.
I don't care if you're a seller who's selling $50,000 a month. You have insight and perspective that other people would be dying to hear of. And if you're somebody who's crushing it, doing seven figures, high seven figures, like even better, come on in.
Hey, I want to correct you on that. I don't give a damn if you're doing 10 grand a month or
Right.
5 grand a month, right? You have value to share. You don't have to come out. There's no pressure. If you are willing to come out and do video with us, we'll just chat and have a conversation about life and business. The fact of the matter is if somebody on this call or sees this video or gets on any of these future calls has even a small business, there's others that could learn from that. Fact of the matter
Yep.
is there are people who are doing a lot less volume than Taylor and I, and have been doing Amazon selling for a lot less time, than we have, and they have insight that is extremely valuable to me and Taylor. So, yeah, the whole 50K, like, I don't give a damn about any of that.
Yep.
If you're willing to come out and chat, like, because it could turn into coaching if you want it to, right? We can do live coaching, and just talk shop and stuff. So yeah, you're just welcome to let us know that you want to come out and talk. And it's scary. Maybe we'll it can be scary, right, to get out and talk to people, but that's okay. Push through that fear, punch fear in the face, and do it anyway.
There we go. So heads up, guys.
I'm not gonna pretend like I wasn't nervous before today. You know what I mean? Like before this call.
Yeah.
Shoot. I'm not above being nervous or getting anxiety.
Yep. So guys, be on the lookout. Probably around February 8th, we'll be scheduling another call. So keep an eye on your inbox. Make sure you jump on that when you see it come through. Grant, any final words before we hop off?
I love you guys. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate your time.
I'm going to ditto that. Love you guys. Thank you for everything. We appreciate everyone who jumped on this call. If you're catching the recording, don't miss out on the live next time. Other than that, guys, you all have a good rest of your day.